We head to Papua New Guinea now, where 8 people, including 4 school children, have been kidnapped at a remote village, Adjumari in Western Province. The alleged kidnappers are reported to be demanding a ransom, and police are warning they'll use lethal force if the hostages are not released. For more on this developing story, we go to Port Moresby to speak to ABC's Papua New Guinea correspondent Marion Farr. Good morning, Marion. Thank you for joining us. But before we get into the latest news on this, when did this kidnapping happen?
Good morning, John. So according to police, this kidnapping occurred early in the morning on Monday this week, about 5 a.m. That's when this gang is said to have seized these 4 adults and a group of children in the village of Adjumari, which is in Western Province near the border with Hela and Southern Highlands Province. It's a very sort of remote area. We understand the attack happened very early in the morning while the victims were asleep in their homes or their school accommodation. And at this stage, it's unclear exactly where they've been taken.
You say it's unclear where they've been taken, but what's the latest, any other developments about the incident?
Well, we've learned a few things. One is that there was one schoolgirl who managed to evade the kidnappers when they were trying to seize her. That's the understanding that police have. She wasn't actually captured, but when they were coming in and trying to take these hostages, she managed to escape. And it's understood that she's now cooperating with the police and helping them with their investigation. Apparently, she ran away to a nearby village to safety and raised the alarm. It's still early days, but specialist police from Port Moresby have been sent to respond to the incident, and they are there on the ground now.
What about the hostages? Are there details that we know about them and any other details around who was kidnapped?
So according to police, there were 4 adults and a number of children, school-aged children, who were captured. The adults are believed to be a school teacher and his wife, and also a health worker and his wife. Police haven't been able to confirm the number of children who were kidnapped at this stage, but local media are reporting that 4 school-aged girls are among the hostages. Police also say they believe the hostages have not been harmed, which is obviously good news if that's the case, and the focus now is really to keep it that way and to bring them to safety.
You mentioned that police have a specialist team that is responding to this. Do you know of any of the challenges that police are facing in getting to the area?
Well, I mean, this is a very remote area. Western Province is the largest province in PNG, and it's not well connected in terms of sort of roads and airports. Police haven't confirmed exactly how they reached the area, but from the kind of sources we have, it's understood that there's helicopters were actually involved in getting the police to this remote location.
Now, police are labelling the kidnappers as domestic terrorists. What exactly does that term mean?
Yeah, so John, this is a term that's really started to enter the PNG police lexicon in the last year or so, I guess around the time of the passing of PNG's new counter-terrorism laws. Now, that legislation describes terrorism, and you have to bear with me, this is a bit legalistic, but it describes terrorism as an act or threat of personal harm or serious property damage undertaken for the purpose of either advancing a political, religious or ideological cause, influencing government action or policy, creating fear or a serious risk to the health or safety of the public or any section of the public, intimidating the public or any section of the public, or affecting a group or groups of persons identifiable by a shared custom, ethnicity or place of residence. So police are referring to these kidnappers in their sort of media releases. They're referring to them as domestic terrorists, which is consistent with how they've labelled kidnappers and people who do these sort of activities in the past. And it's an indication that they could be dealt with under this Counter-Terrorism Act, which carries very, very severe penalties. I think some of them, have some of the offences, or most of the offences, have a minimum imprisonment term of 50 years and a maximum life sentence. So some very serious penalties there for people who are charged and found guilty under that act.
Now, just finally, Marion, is this an isolated incident?
Not exactly, Johns. There have been kidnappings in this particular area in the past. You might remember in 2023, an Australian archaeologist and his team were captured in the very similar area. Local sources have indicated that it could be the same gang responsible this time around, but that's not something police have been able to confirm at this stage. And, the kidnappers are demanding a ransom, which is similar to what has happened in the past. Obviously, in the past, with that Australian archaeologist, they were targeting an expatriate. This time we understand that the victims, the hostages, are all Papua New Guinean nationals, and police have reiterated that this is not the first time that this has happened in that region, and they are working to respond based on, their experience in the past and their experience dealing with these sort of situations.